I met the Lord, and we were suddenly taken into Bethany. And the weight of the impending encounter pressed heavily upon my heart. I knew it was taking my breath away. I had memories of Lazarus flooding my mind that for some reason I felt grievances towards him, but obviously I didn't know him. He's a Bible character that doesn't say a lot about him. I think it was more my position of heart that the Lord was revealing that I love people, but with conditions, residue. So the Lord was starting to deal with my biases, that it wouldn't cloud my perceptions of him, but I'd be able to see something deeper beyond his flaws. So the path was lined with olive trees, I remember, and there were leaves that were just flowing in a gentle breeze, and really just sang praise to God. Everything was so crystallized, so wonderful. It's like going through the poppy fields and Wizard of Oz, but not falling asleep, having a calm peace. I don't know if that's a great comparison, but sun also cast. It wasn't harsh. It had dappled shadows on the ground. No, I didn't come up with dappled. I asked for the source to help me there. Oh, I'll just read what I wrote down. And the distant walls, the mourners reached our ears. Oh, I've been around mourners. Zimbabwe, the mama's true mourning. It's bathos, not pathos. It's just the deepest of guttural heart cries. I saw Thomas. He walked up to Jesus. He said, Master, is it truly wise to return? The dangers in Judea are still fresh in our minds, Jesus. And it's fresh in our minds for you. They tried to stone you there. Jesus said, look, anyone who walks in the light will not stumble. They'll see the world's light. Sometimes his colloquialisms, I almost said that right. Sometimes his phrases were, I thought maybe we could be a little more conversational about this, Jesus, but I knew when he didn't change a statement that seemed like it was distant, that there was a reason for the wording and the life behind it. I was to not change it, but change me and go for it. So I was to be left pondering the deeper meaning, the walking in light. All I could see was how we had a reference point was to walk in the light or stumble in my dark judgments. Well, that's contrast. They were nearing the tomb and I was walking behind them. Martha came running out, and there was just this deep, close cry, a symphony of sorrow from Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, and from the others that were around, but theirs were unique. I want to flee that kind of mourning, that kind of death, that kind of grief. But I'd find a difference that I was to learn to go through grief or sorrow with hope that has an eternal perspective. It doesn't take these momentary light afflictions, as Peter said, 1 Peter 2:9, with too much weight and gravity. How could I get so heavy in my soul and these few short 100 years on the earth? I dreamed last night that I was 100 and I won a race, a 100-yard dash in 13.87. Don't know what that meant, but it was just showing me that there's a lot more life to be lived. Then I was 77 and I looked like a brick house. Built, not the bulk, the Hulk.
That's right.
The Lord is trying to show me what I'm going to be like in the natural and in the spirit. But back to this. Mood's a little different with this. Martha came and said, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. So many questions in that one question. Why weren't you coming? Why weren't you there? What do you like? You going to leave me hanging like this? And I do depend on you completely, but then when I depend on you, you pull the rug out from under me. I felt a twinge of agreement, silently question why he doesn't come sooner and crush all my enemies, including death. No. But Jesus said, you gotta look a little farther out, have a little faith. Your brother will rise again. He said, Bob, you act like a toddler pouring on your pants of your father until they an insecure little brat saying, gimme, gimme, gimme. So, well, this is a bigger deal than that. Your brother dies, you don't expect it to, you're young. And he said, can I finish? I said, okay. He said, listen, Martha. Martha said, I know he will rise again. You said my brother will rise again. And then Jesus said, and Martha said, I know he will rise again on the resurrection at the last day. But I am the resurrection and life today. Hope, hope, hope today. Hopeful promises today. David told you, I hope for God in the land of the living. That means in the present. Hope, give the past to me and close that door. Hope for the present. Each day, and then hope for the future. It was stunning. There was this revelation of hope that it's more powerful than death and the resurrection. It's a love that is 1 Corinthians 13 love that it finishes with love hopes all things. The most mature love is it doesn't give up hope. Doesn't put people in the disappointment room. Doesn't put the earth in the disappointment room. It doesn't get crushed by worldly ways. It's a speck of evil compared to my greatness of the horizon filled with my light and with who I am. It's a little speck that comes by my sandals as I stand 1,000 feet tall before you. What are you going to focus on? Me or the dot? I'll say, I think I'll focus on you. Oh, magnify the Lord, oh my soul. That's what it says. And I said, oh, so if I fix my gaze on you, I magnify you. We magnified anything you focus on, the Lord said, but there's no way to magnify me with the pure giggle and knowledge of who he is. I said, oh, that makes sense. It's just uncovering with you more and more layers of your beauty. He says, if you focus on the right things in life, they'll always be magnified because they're greater. If you focus on the dark dots, they become smaller and you become smaller and more oppressed by the littlest things. You become like Gulliver, where you're big, get strapped down by all these little issues. Gulliver, I read as a young man, a little boy, and it was about this giant to these people, and he was strapped down by, it seemed like hundreds of thousands of little ropes. One wouldn't get him. But that Jesus was showing me, you're going to have a bunch of those, and They'll add up, and it's always the little foxes that add up that spoil the vine. Big things you attack, you see them coming. They said both are important to understand. Wisdom has two sides. So Martha professed her faith. I saw her wrestling with her doubts that she could hope today. In this life, it wasn't just an age to come that she just didn't get saved and then lived miserably. As I was taught, you get saved and then you get persecuted and you hate the world in this life versus Matthew 10:30, it says you live 100 times more, a fuller life, life abundantly, it says. In wealth of spirit, prosperity of soul, healing graces. There's 27 temporal hopes that he fulfills in this lifetime that he said that you put off to the next age. Hope, hope, hope today. I knew he was opening up a deep revelation to me of hope, and it's one of the three virtues that will never go away. Love, faith, and hope. And the greatest of these is the love that has faith and that always hopes. That's what Jesus said it. You evaluate it. I just want you to ponder on it if it hits you and say, see what it means will to you. Jesus said back with Lazarus and all these grief-stricken faces, and he said, here's hope today, is basically what was calling Lazarus. Hope, 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 come forth. Hope to everybody around me that I'm the resurrection of life today. You're to live an abundant life, a joyous life. That I had a joy inexplicable. They didn't come out of the upper room with more knowledge. They came out with an inexplicable joy. Because they could hope in the moment. They just didn't have to be weary and toil through this life. I was starting to see the glory of God. And Jesus said, yes, this is where you see the glory of me. And he said, did I not tell you that if you believe that you hope, you will see the glory of God? Yes, it's coming. The stone was rolled away. I was having my internal struggle of what was going to go forth. I somehow didn't know the end of the story, even though I'd read it many times in the scripture. I was just able to experience it anew. Jesus said, I thank you, Father, that you have heard me. That you can hear my ramblings. And Jesus didn't say anything yet. He said, you heard me as I was on my way up here. That you turn my ramblings into revelation. You even answer them. Jesus said he hears your cry before you get it, before you cry it out. So that's why I say thank you that you've heard me. I'm saying this for the benefit of others, that they might know or believe that you hear our cries. Like David said, you took my ramblings and turned it into a cry, and then you answered it. Took my groans, turned it into a cry, and you answered it. Took my giggles and you turned it into wondrous dreams, and you answered it. Then he said, Lazarus, hope, 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 come out. It was challenging all of our skepticism. Gasped as Lazarus emerged, and it wasn't the Lazarus that I had in the picture. He was so full of light and effervescent. Jesus said, all the glory and dignity of a human being created in my image. Speak kindly to them. Said, if you can't help them, don't hurt them. I started to cry. I just knew my lack of focus on the wonder of a human being, that the worth that when I was getting to see him according to the way Jesus saw him, according to his original design, he lit up the earth with different colors that had passion, love, and flavors. There was a gift that you open up, a present that just doesn't stop giving, and the wonder of a human being, so much to discover. There were some that ran up and they're taking those grave cloths off, and they're revealing more and more light and wonder. As we do that for one another, he said, you will discover the treasure. You just won't see people wrapped like mummies that are dead in tombs. He said, they're alive. I died for them. I looked again. I saw the flawed man that I had judged, Lazarus. That was really a soul beloved by God. Tears blew my vision. A deep reverence for what he created and the passion he had for every human being. And I feared touching them in the wrong way. They radiated with like electricity of his presence and beauty. Everybody was stunned by this kind of love that sees according to their heart. The God fashion, because God fashions the heart of us all, versus evaluating them through their wounds, their reactions. We said only the Son of God could do this. Truly, this is the Son of God. This is the greatest miracle of all. Appreciative love, that to appreciate. Love is to appreciate, put value on, or discover the value of. Thomas jumped up and said, let us go wherever he wants us to go, that we might die with him also. To this wrong perspective, that we could die also to our lack of love, or my lack of sense appreciation. I could die for that kind of love. And then my father was there, speaking to his inner city Gary, who would come to our house. And I remember this, that he would pull the pockets off from the inner city. My dad was an inner city principal. And he beat us up when my dad wouldn't be around. It was rough, already in a gang. And I asked my dad, don't bring him back, please. We never had done that. And he looked far off, and he said, Bobby, I know he's a little rough. I thought a little. He said, Bobby, there's beauty in there. If you want me to say he needs to go, but I would ask you to give him a chance to see the beauty in there. But I understand, son. Next day I came home and I saw in my Irish Catholic neighborhood, Italian Catholic neighbors with a bunch of their children filling our front yard on blankets, just listening with their fruit juices, and they were just there listening to a concert. I ran around to my garage door, came in that other way towards the front door where we had a classic piano sitting by the front door. It was old, but someone was playing it and making sounds come out of it that I've never heard before. I saw my dad through the crowd, and he was standing, just looking. And I came through the crowd, and it was Gary. I'd never seen it, heard anything more beautiful, touching than the sound, the harmony, that secret chord of his that pleased the Lord. When I welled up with tears, my dad looked at me and says, Bobby, see, there's beauty in there. Jesus was the originator of that statement. Out of nowhere, he said, see, Bobby, there's beauty in there. And I knew my commission is to have that love that transcends death, not because we're all special. We're all unique. I was saying not because I'm special, but no, that's not right. I am special, but we all are special. I knew that he could transform my perspective. And for me, discipleship was being one who embraced his vision of appreciative love and would hope for all things for a person.
That was beautiful, Bob. That was very good. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, meant a lot to